Hello, my name is Bridget Malone, and I am the Public Relations and Events Coordinator for the College of Science and Mathematics here at Rowan. It is my pleasure to also introduce our Assistant Dean, Jennifer Ravelli, who we are excited to have joining us today.
Hello, welcome everyone.
On behalf of the university, I want to extend a very warm welcome to those joining us for this information session. Today, we have a fantastic panel of faculty and students who will be giving you a glimpse of what it is like to be a psychology student here at Rowan. Before we begin, I just have a few housekeeping items. Our panel will be doing a brief presentation during which all of our guests will be kept on mute with their cameras off, but I strongly encourage you to enter any questions you have into the chat box throughout. Then following the presentation, we'll have a question and answer period with the panel. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Mary Lou Kerwin, who is the head of the Department of Psychology.
Welcome, everyone. As Bridget said, I'm Dr. Mary Lou Kerwin, and I'm the department head at Rowan. And before we begin, I'd like our panel to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Dr. Slajewski.
Hi, I'm Dr. Slajewski. I'm a faculty member in the psych department.
Thank you, Dr. Slajewski. How about Lauren?
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a junior psychological science major in the Honors College.
Thank you, Lauren. John?
Hi, I'm John. I'm a senior in the Psychology BA program.
Thank you, John. Leah?
Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Donaghy, and I'm a senior psychology major with a minor in education, and I'm also a peer mentor.
Thank you so much, Leah. So let me tell you a little bit about the psychology department at Rowan. We hope you will join us. Psychology is across the country in almost every university, the largest department within that university. So this graph is showing you the number of degrees that have been awarded at the bachelor's level and at the master's and doctoral level from 2005 through 2019. And as you can see, looking at the graph, not only are the bachelor's degrees quite high in terms of we're way over 100K, but they've also increased a little bit. And so you may ask yourself, well, why? Why is psychology so popular? Next slide. And before Dr. Slajewski and I would tell you why, I'd like to turn to our panelist of students and ask them, why did they choose psychology as a major? Let me start this time with John.
For me, I took a psychology course as an elective when I was a biology major, and I just got really fascinated with it and the multiple areas that you can apply it to. And I actually ended up changing my major from biology and mathematics into psychology.
Well, we're glad you did so, John. Thank you. Leah, how about you?
I chose psychology because I really have a passion for helping other people. And I'm also so fascinated with how people behave and why they behave. And starting out, I started as an education major, and I switched because I kind of wanted the best of both worlds, where I could work with students, but also understand and help them with their mental health.
Well, Leah, thank you again for switching. Lauren, why psychology?
Okay, so I was a little unsure going into my college experience what I wanted to do. I know I always wanted to do research, but I soon found out that I really was fascinated by all the complexities of the human brain. And like a lot of other people in the psychology field, I want to help other people. I've always been passionate about mental health. And another reason is that there are so many different options in the psych field, and Rowan offers so many different psych electives. So even if I didn't know what I wanted to do in the psych field, I would have an opportunity to figure that out.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lauren. Next slide. Why psychology is such a popular major in almost any university?
So we have 5 learning goals for our psychology majors, and this is based on the American Psychological Association learning goals and outcomes for psych. So our first goal is to just make sure students have a knowledge base in psychology. The second goal that we try to meet is to foster scientific reasoning and scientific inquiry and critical thinking in our students. The third goal is making sure that students understand what their ethical and social responsibilities are in a diverse world. Our fourth goal is communication. So making sure our students have the opportunity to learn how to write in psychology, how to give presentations, how to create multimedia work in psychology. And then our fifth goal is professional development. And professional development just means making sure that our students are applying the skills that they've learned. So we do a lot of teamwork in our courses. Our students do projects, so they learn project management and time management, and also career preparation.
So one of the things that you'll learn is psychology majors are in many, many, many different careers. And the reason is those critical thinking skills, the oral and written communication skills are universal and well respected. And so this slide gives you an idea of the primary work activities of individuals with a bachelor's degree in psychology. And you can see that they really are in management, which is in the business world more than any other field at the bachelor's level, followed closely by teaching and sales and marketing. So although psychology is about human behavior, many individuals with bachelor's degrees actually end up going into the business world. Next slide, please. So one of the important things that you do have to understand is that with a bachelor's of arts or a bachelor's of science in psychology, it is not a professional degree, meaning with that degree, you're not able to open your own practice. You are not able to act as a therapist. You need to go on further for additional education at the master's and or doctoral level. But there's lots of things you can do with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Next slide. So right now we're going to talk a little bit about our academic programs. Next slide. So we have 29 full-time faculty in the department. We have 23 that are tenure track and 6 lecturers. So lots of expertise for you here at Rowan. Next slide. Dr. Slajewski is going to talk about our two majors that we offer within our department, our Bachelor's of Arts degree and our Bachelor's of Science degree.
Yeah, so we offer a BS in psychological science and a BA in psychology. And so we usually have a lot of students that have questions about the differences between these. The BA in psychology is 35 credits and the BS is 62 credits. That's going to be the biggest difference right there. So the BS degree is designed for students to get more breadth and depth in psychology. This degree is typically for students who want to go into the field of psychology when they're done. Maybe they want to become a research scientist or become a clinical psychologist. So these students are going to get many more psychology classes, and they also get more research experience as well. The BA degree, though, the vast majority of our students have they take the BA degree. And the BA degree allows you a lot of flexibility. So you can see at the bottom there, the BA, you have 54 credits of free electives. So with that degree, we usually encourage our students to do a double major or other degree programs as well. It's easy to do that. You can do the next slide.
So as we mentioned, it's one of the largest majors. It is the largest major here at Rowan. We currently have about 1,300 Bachelor's of Arts majors and 67 Bachelor's of Science in Psychological Science. Some of the reasons to consider Rowan for psychology is our small interactive classes. On average, we have 28 students. We offer team-based learning as a backbone of the pedagogy. What does that mean? It means that instead of you listening to lectures and going home to do homework, at home you listen to your lectures and then you come into the classroom and work on applying your knowledge base and skills. Next slide. Okay, and then we also have, for those of you that may be considering transferring to Rowan, a transfer learning community. It's a great way to create a cohort of transfer students that take 3 classes together the very first semester that they arrive in the major in psychology. Next slide. In addition to our majors, we have other academic programs. So we have a concentration in behavioral services. This is the Association for Behavior Analysis International verified coursework, allowing students at the bachelor's level, if they do other requirements like supervised field work, to become a board certified assistant behavior analyst, which is a licensed eligible credential in the state of New Jersey. We also have the minor in psychology for 18 credits. We have a neuroscience concentration, or I'm sorry, minor with biological sciences, and we have a human resources minor that we do in conjunction with business. Next slide.
So I can just mention a couple of words about the Honors College. If you're not aware, Rowan has an honors college that you can apply separately to be a part of. And in psychology, we are starting to offer courses that are specific to the Honors College. So we have honors sections of some of our courses, and that will go towards your course requirements for the honors concentration. And Lauren, did you say you were honors? I didn't know if you wanted to say a couple of words about honors.
Yes, I am an honors student. I'm a junior now. I've been in the honors college since when I first came in my freshman year. I absolutely recommend applying because one of the greatest things about honors that I love is the wide variety of courses. I've been able to take many different courses that I never thought I would. Right now I'm in an astronomy class, which is completely out of my major, but I've been able to discover all these different fields that I've had interest in but wouldn't be able to take part in otherwise. And also with honors, priority registration is a great thing. So you get to apply for classes before anyone else, which is really great if you want to get into a specific class. There are many other benefits to honors. I highly recommend going for it.
Thank you. Next slide. We also have graduate programs. Next slide. Within just to mention, we have a PhD in clinical psychology. We have 3 master's programs, a master in clinical mental health counseling, a master's in applied behavior analysis, and a master's in school psychology with the College of Education. All 3 of these master's programs are professional degrees, meaning they lead the alumni of those programs to seek licensure or certification. We also offered certificate programs at the graduate level in clinical mental health counseling and applied behavior analysis. Next slide. So one of the things that I think we uniquely do in our major is do career preparation. So one of our courses is Psychology as a Profession in Practice. Very briefly, in that course, you will learn to write your cover letter for jobs or a narrative for graduate school. You'll have a resume for jobs or a CV for graduate school, and you will do mock interviews. Part of that course is getting you to register with the Career and Academic Placement Center so that you are receiving notifications of jobs that would be unique to psychology majors. In addition, in our department, we provide in the spring a job fair for employers in the area looking for our alumni to get jobs with them so that students are able to actually attend the job fair. Next slide.
So
go ahead.
We also offer a few experiential learning opportunities for our students. So students can do field experience for credit, which is basically like an internship. So they work off-site at various places that we have affiliations with. Let's see, we have a psychology learning assistant program where our upperclassmen students can basically be, we call them LAs, but it's kind of like being a TA, where you are in the classroom and you are helping the instructor and the students learning, usually in small group activities, so you can get credit for doing that. And then we also have 4-credit research clinic, where a number of our students work in faculty labs doing research, and sometimes they're doing their own research studies, and sometimes they're working alongside our faculty doing their research. So those are just some of the opportunities we have. And I know a couple of the students are going to talk about their experiences. John, do you want to talk about your field experience?
Yeah, for me, I did my field experience with Target over the summer. So I got them by going to a job fair and applying to it. It was an internship where you go and you learn about the design of the company and the structure and how it works and how they actually use psychology with a lot of their business practices. So it was a very cool learning experience.
That's great. Leah, did you also do field experience?
Yes, I did. So I filled out the paperwork to get into a field experience class. And with Dr. LeMastro, I was placed into Glassboro Intermediate School. So I got a chance to work with 6th and 7th graders and shadow the school counselor and see what it's like every single day for a semester as a school counselor.
And what's great is you both got course credit for doing so. Wonderful. Next slide.
Oh, I was going to have, are we waiting for Lauren? Yep. Never mind.
Right. Sorry. So now we're going to talk about our undergraduate research, and we're not going to eliminate Lauren. Next slide. Next slide. So before I introduce Lauren to talk about a little bit about her research experience, which we think is really important, this slide shows photographs of our students presenting research results at our own research conference. We offer an annual research conference in the department every year, but in addition, they have presented their results at regional, national, and international research conferences with doctoral individuals. So our students do research, and it's really an important part of the program. And Lauren, you are currently in a research laboratory. You want to describe briefly your experience there?
Yes, absolutely. I'm currently working in the Rowan lab with Dr. Ha, which is also known as Research on Anxiety and Depression. I joined my second semester freshman year, and I've been able to work on a multitude of projects, some of my favorites being a YouTube content analysis on videos about depression and mental health apps and their effect on people in the time of COVID-19. In my research lab, I've gained a lot of experience working on research papers, IRB protocols, and also work on my public speaking, which is important if you're going to be presenting at a research conference, as shown here. There are lots of research opportunities on the campus, so I say go for them as soon as possible. A lot of labs want students for multiple years. And I also recommend doing it if you're not going into research, because it'll be good experience regardless of where you're going in the psychology field, if it's something that you're interested in.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lauren. Next slide, please. So it's also important that we provide supports for students to maximize success. And there's a number of different ways we do that. Next slide. So we have what are called embedded academic advisors within the department. You're looking at the pictures of the 3 academic advisors in our department. Their job is to make sure you graduate on time with the right coursework. So we encourage you, should you come to Rowan or anywhere, to meet with your academic advisor every semester to make sure you're on track. Next slide. In addition, we have a lot of student supports within the department. We have a drop-in tutoring specific to psychology courses. As Dr. Slajewski mentioned, we have learning assistance programs. And finally, we have peer mentors. All of the students in this panel are, in fact, peer mentors. I'm going to call on each of them for a little bit of a different thing across the next couple of slides. So, Leah, would you talk a little bit about being a tutor?
Yes, so I've been a tutor for about 2 years, and I really love it because I get to interact with all kinds of students. But something that's so great about tutoring is that every tutor that is tutoring someone had to take the class that they're currently getting tutored in, and they had to get a B or above. So oftentimes the tutor knows who your professor is, and they can give you tips on how to do well and prepare for that test.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leah. John, would you like to talk to us about being a peer mentor and what that is?
Yeah, so being a peer mentor, it's you get a group of students. They're either going to be new students or transfer students, and you just help them kind of navigate their way around the college and the different offices and resources and things like that. And I actually had one recently where a student was having issues with registering for classes, and we were able to find the specific office where the issue was and get it resolved in about a half hour. So it's definitely a good program to be a part of.
And thank all of the students. Thank you all for being peer mentors. We think it's an important program within our department. Next slide. Student life. So now I'll talk with Lauren. Lauren, you want to say, what is it like to be a student here at Rowan, especially in the psych department?
Absolutely. Being a student at Rowan is way more engaging than I thought it'd be. So I've lived on my campus and my entire time being here. I've lived in the freshman dorms, Holly Point Commons, which I'm going to be honest are very, very nice for freshman dorms. And right now I've lived in Rowan Boulevard apartments for the past 2 years, another great place to live. The campus is absolutely beautiful. It's not too big, not too small, and everything is within walking distance. One of my favorite parts about Rowan as a whole, not Rowan as a whole, but a little specific thing is that they have these Rowan after hours programs where on weekend nights they have a wide variety of like fun things you can do. They have like bingo, they have movie nights, and it's a really nice way to meet other people and become a greater part of the Rowan community. I know this is a big thing. The food here is wonderful. We have the student center and Glassworks. If you have a meal plan, you can use meal swipes. And my personal favorite is there's food on Rowan Boulevard. We now have a Kung Fu Tea, a new ramen place, Chickies and Pete's. There's a wide variety of places on campus, which is really great. And something that I really love about Rowan is that there are many course and major options. Not many schools had the degree I was looking for. In particular, I'm a psychological science major, and I knew I really wanted to do research with neuroscience and all of that. But a lot of the other schools I applied to didn't really have that. So I'm really glad that Rowan had that. And like I said before, the honors classes are always very interesting and engaging. And Rowan is just overall a great place to be.
Thanks, Lauren. I promise we didn't pay her to say that. Next slide.
So I can talk about the student organizations. We have several, and these are just the organizations in our department. There are a ton of organizations across campus, but we have Psychology Alliance, which is our student club. We have our Psych-Hi Honor Society, which Leah is on the e-board for. We have Neuro Club, which is for our students that are interested in neuroscience. And we have our Applied Behavior Analysis, or ABA club.
Next slide. Okay, that was our brief presentation, and now we're going to open it up for questions and answers.
Okay, thanks everybody. We've been receiving some questions in the chat box. A lot of questions about the Honors College. Honors College, can you explore elective classes, such as various classes beyond your major without changing it? And is there priority class registration?
Yes.
Yeah, so with any major you have at Rowan, you do have free electives. And so even without being in the honors college, you can take classes outside of your major. But with honors, there are special designated honors sections where usually the courses are just taught a little differently. They're smaller, they're capped at 20. And so there are usually even less than 20 students in a class. But even if you're not in the majors concentration, you can still take electives outside of your major. And there is priority registration for those who are in the honors college. Basically, they get to register first before anyone else, even before seniors get to register. And I think in the chat, there was the link for freshmen. So when you apply to Rowan, when you're accepted, if you meet our criteria, then you get an invitation to apply for honors. If you don't meet the criteria, you can still apply to honors once you come to Rowan. The process is a little different, but you just then, you're not coming into it with honors. You can get into honors after being a Rowan student. And it's a separate application process for that.
And I can just add to that because my daughter just went through this. I believe the deadline for applying to honors after you've been invited is coming up. I have it here.
Yes, I posted it in.
February. Yeah,
It's February 21st. Yes,
okay,
and it's posted in the chat box.
Oh, great. Thank you. Looking at a lot of screens here, so I appreciate you guys helping me out. So if you are a transfer student coming to Rowan, could you talk a little bit about the process for transfer students?
Do we have a transfer student on the panel, John? So that's you.
Yeah, for me, transferring to Rowan was a really easy process. They definitely made it very simple compared to a lot of other schools. It was ultimately why I chose it. Big thing that I noticed was anytime I had a question about the process, I could just call and immediately have an answer to whatever it was that I wasn't sure about. And that really stood out. Really, I didn't find any other colleges were that easy to get a hold of someone. And in terms of transferring too, I mean, they accepted more credits than I thought they were going to. I came from a community college and they took a lot of credits. It was an easy process. I did the transfer community where they put you with a group of people in 3 classes. That was a great move too, because they just registered you for a few classes right there. It was definitely a very transfer friendly environment. That's how I describe it.
There's a question that, thank you, John. There's a question that just came up in the chat box asking about GPA qualifications for honors. If we don't have that at our fingertips, we can definitely respond and get back to you on that. Does anyone happen to know?
Yeah, coming from high school, it needs to be a 3.9 GPA. But once you're at Rowan, it's a 3.5 for your Rowan coursework. Or if you're a transfer student transferring in, it's a 3.5 from your college coursework.
And did you already mention, Eve, can students apply their sophomore year to go into honors?
As long as students still have 2 full years at Rowan, they can apply to get in for the next semester. But to qualify, you just have to have 2 full years left at Rowan. That's like the minimum to graduate with the honors concentration.
Okay, great. So what if a student comes in as a BA or a BS, but they want to change after they get more familiar with the program? How easy is that? Would they be able to do it in sophomore year?
Can I actually speak on that? Because that's literally what I did. I went from a BA to a BS, and it was really easy to start doing courses for the BS. Like, I am almost done with my requirements now. It's not that much more difficult if you end up wanting to change to a BS. You just have to take a few extra courses. For the BA, it's like either or for some courses, but you just basically take both for the BS. And I'm currently in advanced research too, so that's another requirement you have for the BS, but it's really not that daunting of a thing to do to change between the two.
Sorry, I'm still admitting some people, and when I hit it, I'm changing the slide, so I apologize. So this is also for the students. This question is, why did you choose Rowan? And what is your favorite, now that you've been here a while, and looking back, what is your favorite thing about being a Rowan student? And especially in or out of like psychology?
So I can go. I chose Rowan because I didn't want to go too far from my house, and it's pretty local to me, so I can commute back and forth. My favorite thing about the psych department is that it's so small and personal, so you really get to know your professors on another level, and I don't feel like intimidated because it's not huge. And besides like psychology, my favorite thing is the people I met and the different organizations that they have. I'm in a co-ed service fraternity, and that made my experience at Rowan so much better.
And it's interesting that you say that you feel that the department is small, because it's actually, I believe, one of our largest departments at Rowan, but yet you feel that closeness and the intimacy, that you feel like it's small. So that's really neat. Thank you for sharing that. Did anyone else, any of the other students want to share? We're good?
I could go if you want.
Sure. Love to hear from you.
Yeah, so a big thing for me was what I was saying before with how easy it is to get help with things. There's a lot of very open communication. Everything seems pretty well organized here. That's a big thing that I like. And then also building off of what was just said before, with Rowan, I really liked was that you got kind of small school attention, but the school has large school resources. So you have lots of opportunities that you would get at a big school, but you develop a relationship that you would get at a smaller school. And that's a huge thing going into graduate school applications. You want to be able to have letters of recommendation that show the professor actually knows you and understands your skills and things like that. It's actually personalized. So that was definitely a big thing that stood out with this department.
Okay. During the presentation, we talked about students getting involved doing research with faculty. What recommendation do you have for psychology students coming in and trying to explore how they connect with their faculty students, and how they can find out which faculty members are doing what kind of research?
That's an excellent question, Bridget. Dr. Martinez in our department is our brand new coordinator of undergraduate research. So if you are interested in learning more about all the different research that's being done in the department, you would email her at our email psychresearch@rowan.edu, and she would get back with you, and she's sort of going to play matchmaker and try and get students interested in research matched with the right laboratories so that they don't waste as much time having to talk to every single professor to find out which laboratories are accepting students, what type of research, et cetera. So Bridget, we feel like that we're moving forward even better than we have in the past in that specific area. So thank you for that question.
Okay, great. Would you mind, Mary Lou, putting the address that you mentioned in the chat box for our guests? Okay, so at this point, I noticed our admissions rep, Sharissa, joined us. I'm going to make her a co-host so that she can speak with us. And I've noticed a few more general questions about Rowan and processes. Let's see here.
So, Bridget, I noticed a question that I know that Carissa can answer for us. We have a question about admissions deadlines, and are they different for the Honors College, and are they different for the EOF program in particular?
That's a great question. So generally, we have two deadlines. We have January 31st, which is for priority scholarship purposes. So if students are looking to be reviewed for scholarship, you want to have everything in by January 31st. Our regular deadline is March 1st. In terms of EOF and our honors program, they have their own applications. Let me get the honors. I believe you need to have your honors application in end of February. I think it's February 21st. You want to have that in. And you'll know if you qualify for honors because on your student portal, which once you apply, you get access to your student portal, you'll see the honors application listed right in that application portal. So I tell all students who are applying to Rowan, please check your email. You will get an email from us and the title is Action Required, and that'll give you access into your student portal. So if you were qualified for honors, you can apply there. The EOF, it's a regular deadline. It is a first come, first serve basis. We tend to get about 2,000 students who are interested in the EOF program, and we need to fill 200 seats. Historically, since I've been working with the program, I find that they tend to kind of fall in line with our regular deadline. So as long as you have everything by March 1st, you'll be considered for the program. But again, we want to continue to check that student portal just in case we need any additional information for you, whether that's something regarding your FAFSA or another slip that EOF may be asking for. We'll do it right through that status portal.
Okay. One of the amazing things about Rowan is the high quality education that you receive at such an affordable price point. Can you just let us know, for people that don't necessarily know what tuition is off the top of their head, what is in-state full-time tuition like for 2021, and how is it different if you're living on campus, off campus? And maybe I can put some URLs in the chat box while you're talking about some of these things.
Sure. Give me 1 second, actually, because I know there was a little bit of an update. So 1 second for me. Okay, so our tuition for an in-state student is $14,000. If there's any out-of-state students out there, you're looking about $22,832. I believe moving into this next year, there will be an update. Haven't received that yet. So right now it's about 14. When you apply, you'll get a college financing plan. And this will happen before you confirm your enrollment at Rowan, and we're crossing our fingers that you do become part of the Rowan family. But you'll receive this college financing plan, and it will give you an average about room and board. So on average, we say it's about $12,904. But once students confirm with Rowan, they have a lot of options in terms of our residence halls on campus. So we really have a lot of options for students to budget in, the cost of where they stay on campus. So the total cost for an in-state student is about $26,904. And this is before any of your financial aid, grants, and scholarships kick in. We do offer scholarships at Rowan. So again, the application deadline for that is January 31st. Scholarships are anywhere from $1,000 to $9,000 per year. You have to maintain a 2.5 GPA to maintain your scholarship through those 4 years. And then if you receive any grants. So once you get that college financing plan, it breaks that down for you and lets you know what your total cost of attendance would be after you receive scholarship and grants as well.
Okay, great. And I know that our scholarship deadline is tomorrow, but we might have some juniors on the line. We might have some high school counselors. So I put in, did I put it in the chat box? Scholarship information? Yes. Yes. People can look that up. Let's see. Was there any other questions in the chat box, Jennifer? Did you see that?
No, I think we've covered the questions that we got in the chat box.
Okay. All right.
So if you don't mind, just wanted to plug this in quickly. I know it's been really hard, with COVID to visit any campus. But what we are now offering, we just started this about 2 weeks ago, we are now offering an audio tour. So it keeps all of our visitors safe, and you can, visit our campus on your own terms and make the different stops that matter to you. So I'm going to share this in the chat box so you can register. The audio tour is located on Spotify, Apple Music, any of those streaming services, and they are done by our actual admission ambassadors. So you're getting the same content that you would if you were actually on our campus getting a private tour. 4 of the dates, we're offering some weekend dates on Saturdays that you can come and get a free t-shirt if you are looking to come to Rowan. And we have a food truck, so you can have some snacks along the way. So I'm going to share that with everyone. We hope to see you on campus. And I'll also be there. So if you have questions, you can ask from our students. You can ask some of our admission counselors.
Carissa, we have a question that just came up regarding fee waivers. Are there application fee waivers for Rowan for in-state students?
So we typically don't offer general waivers. There is a waiver question on the Common App under the profile section. So if students do fall under any of those requirements, you're more than welcome to check that off. and then submit the application. But we do understand that it's been a really crazy year for a lot of students and families. So if you find yourself in a financial situation that, the fee is just a little bit too much, feel free to reach out to admissions@rowan.edu, and we'd be happy to work with you.
And I did see in the chat box, so for all 4 years, Rowan is about 88,000 in total. Does that sound right?
Well, I think you need to take into consideration your scholarships, where you're attending your courses. If you take summer courses, it really depends. You can take summer courses and shorten your stay at Rowan, which saves you a lot of money. Taking 5 classes a semester really saves you a lot of money.
Yes.
It means that you finish in 4 years. So while that's a general number, Rowan offers a lot of scholarships and grants. So everybody's situation is a little unique, but that on face value is about correct, yes.
And I would imagine it also depends on your housing and board options that you choose.
Right, and your financial aid eligibility.
Yes.
And I know I mentioned a little bit about our scholarships that we offer, like merit scholarship through admissions, but we also have a lot of scholarships while you're a current student. So we have the Rowan Foundation scholarships that become available each fall. So when you're a current student, you're more than welcome to apply each year. If there's anything I learned the hard way, it's that college is not paid with monopoly money. So I was one of those that was applying for those scholarships yearly. And it's really nice. There's over 200 different scholarships. Not only are they looking at merit, but they're looking at your involvement on and off campus. So that's another option.
Great. And you can sign up for the scholarship universe emails, right? And you can get those weekly, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are ready to close up here. I'm just going to share a couple more things. Let me get back to my screen. Oh, if it will let me get to PowerPoint, there we are. Okay, so I just wanted to wrap up with sharing our contact information. Feel free to grab your phone and take a quick picture of the screen for future reference. If you need more information or have any other questions, please reach out. We love to hear from prospective students and their parents. You can also visit rowan.edu/psychology for more information. Jennifer, would you mind putting that in the chat box for me? That's rowan.edu/psychology.
Yes.
And just as a reminder, our application deadline for next fall is March 1st. Also, our admissions department is currently giving in-person campus tours that can be scheduled visiting the admissions website that we have here on the screen. And as Charissa mentioned, families and students can come and do a self-guided tour. So just visit that same admissions website for more information. And of course, please visit our college website at csm.rowan.edu. I have a QR code there on the screen here to make it super easy for you to find us. I'll just pause here for a second if you want to scan the QR code. And so with that, we've come to the end of our program. We wish you a very successful college search and hope to see you on campus soon. On behalf of everyone on the call here today, please, thank you so much for joining us today and enjoy the rest of your weekend.